Like any TD or public representative who operates a clinic or an office service, I do 8 a week. The vast majority of people that come in are people who are at the very sharp end of the housing crisis. One such woman who I met over a year ago now, more than a year ago now, rang me 7 weeks ago today to tell me that her beloved dog died peacefully in her arms that morning. And while she was devastated and crying on the phone, she said to me in that conversation, well, it might be easier for me now to find another house or another apartment, because she is currently the victim of what we call no-fault evictions. And the reason I know it was 7 weeks ago today is because coincidentally she rang me at 9:15 this morning to say that she got the ashes of her dog back yesterday, and that she will now be able to bring the ashes, her dog, her beloved pet, to her next home, which we hopefully will be able to find for her very, very shortly. But I think that story illustrates just how important people's pets are to them. They are members of their family, they love them dearly. And for so many people, if they are to jump the many hurdles there are out there in terms of high rents, in terms of supply, in terms of just finding a landlord or a rental agency that will return a phone call and give you an interview or give you a viewing, to then say, well, look, I have a pet, I've had it for 10 years, 11 years, 6 months, I love it. Sorry, not happening. It's a very real impediment and heartbreaking impediment for thousands and thousands of people and tenants out there. This bill provides practical solutions to that very impediment. Similar to drying clothes, being able to dry clothes out on a balcony. And we all know what the root of this is from prospective landlords. It's downright snobbery. It's classism at its very, very worst. Whether you have a short balcony or a long balcony, you should be able to dry your clothes out there. What are we going to do? Try and encourage people to get tumble dryers? Not only is it climate hostile, they're expensive to use, and in increasingly smaller apartment spaces, people don't have the room for them. So people should be able to dry their clothes outside in the fresh air and not have to dry them inside on clothes horses with damp crawling down the walls, damp on children's school bags, as was stated last night in a separate debate. So again, this bill provides for a very real solution to what is a very real impediment. And that one really hurts because that one is rooted in old-fashioned, old-class snobbery. And that has to go. So I'm happy that this bill is going to be accepted. I hope these elements will actually be included, that this just isn't going to go into the netherworld of opposition bills that just go out there and float somewhere around these houses, never to be seen again. We have to remove no-fault evictions. We need to remove them straight away. That is, if housing for all is to work as the government want, this is something that needs to be done straight away. The housing crisis, as we've learned over the last number of years, is in essence a tenancy crisis. We know the vast majority of people that find themselves in a home situation have been transitioned out of the rental market through no-fault evictions, through rents they can't afford, through whatever flimsy excuse bad landlords are using in order to profit from their property, either through putting it back on the rental market for a much higher rent, or through selling it on to an investment fund, or in a red-hot selling market. But what Deputy Batchik said in her opening contribution is spot on. We need to skew housing policy back towards the people who are living with roofs over their heads, whether they're paying rent or mortgage or whatever. But the Taoiseach's contribution yesterday to this House, I feel, laid bare how the very top of this government feel about the housing crisis, where their priorities lie. It's not with the tenants. I don't think it's shared by backbenchers of three parties, and maybe not shared by some in Cabinet, but it was certainly clear where the Taoiseach's priorities lie. We need to skew it back. We need to put the tenants first. We need to keep them in their homes, and we need to supply homes, affordable homes, to ensure that these no-fault evictions or any evictions are ended, and that we can end this housing crisis.